Right guys, so let's now look at some revenue calculations for a firm in a perfectly competitive marketplace. Now, when we're talking about a perfectly competitive marketplace, we're talking about a market with many buyers and sellers. There'll be no barriers to entry or exit for that matter. There'll be homogeneous or identical goods, and there will also be perfect information present within the marketplace. That really means that buyers and sellers are all aware of all of the prices charged by other sellers, as well as their respective cost information. Now, within such a marketplace, we can see that we've got quantity sold, and I've just started at 8, 9, 10. We can see the price levels at 25. Now, we'd be able to identify that this is a perfectly competitive market where we have just one small firm here which is providing one given good to the marketplace, and that is because the price remains constant. So there is no fall in the price level as output increases here. So that really is a telltale sign that you're dealing with a perfectly competitive marketplace, and it reflects the fact that there are many sellers in the marketplace. So if you do sell or produce one more unit, it's not going to have an impact on the overall market price. So let's now have a look at the total revenue calculation. So total revenue is simply your quantity sold times multiplied by your price. So as we do that, we can see that we then reach 200. You can see I'll put price times quantity sold here. For our next level, where we've got 9 being sold, well, we've got 225 there. And then when it comes to 10 times 25, of course, we've got 250. Okay, so average revenue. When you're calculating the average revenue, all you'll need to do is take your total revenue figures, which we have here, and divide it by the quantity sold, of course. So you're dividing by 8. So that really tells us that the average revenue is once again going to be 25. Once again, there is no deviation in the price, so therefore the price will equal 25. And once again, when we do 250 divided by 10, well, it's 25. Now, there is a really significant relationship, therefore, that we can see between the price level and the average revenue for the firm. So price actually equals average revenue, and we can see that here. Price being 25, average revenue being 25 at all stages, and that is a law that we will see throughout this theory of the firm unit. Okay, let's now take a look at the marginal revenue. So this is the change in the total revenue divided by the change in quantity sold. So we can see that we're going from 8 to 9. The total revenue goes from 200 to 225. Therefore, our marginal revenue, and I am putting it in the margin here, is 25. Once again, we see the total revenue go up by 25, so therefore we can see that the actual marginal revenue once again is 25. Okay, nice and straightforward. So let's now have a look at how this might look for the industry as a whole if we consider these different diagrams that I've drawn out here, where we've got the demand, the price and the revenue for a firm in perfect competition. So let's start up with the industry first of all. Well, we know we're going to have a demand curve looking something like so. Meanwhile, we'd have a supply curve looking like so, and we can see that we have an overall level of production of 25 pounds worth of whatever this product may be. Perhaps it's t-shirts, something like that. And then we would have a given quantity of those t-shirts being sold in the marketplace overall. Let's just label that up as Q star, because that is a free market equilibrium that we see there, where the marginal cost of supplying the good equals the marginal benefit to derived by consumers. It's allocatively efficient. Consumer and producer surplus would be maximized at such a point. So that's really important to bear in mind there. Now, what we can then take from this is the given price level which will be present in the marketplace. Now, firms within perfect competition are said to be price takers, that they must take their price from the overall level in the marketplace. So we can see that this in effect would become the actual demand schedule for a firm in a perfectly competitive industry. So we can see our demand is perfectly elastic here. Moreover, that demand curve equals the average revenue curve, and in turn, interestingly, it equals the marginal revenue, because as we sell one more unit of output, of course, moving from 8 to 9, we increase the actual revenue earned from 200 to 225, 225 to 250, so it goes up by 25 each time, which of course is the price level that the firm is actually earning for each given product that's actually sold. So therefore we can see demand equals average revenue equals marginal revenue for a firm in a perfectly competitive marketplace. So this is a perfectly elastic demand schedule. Now part of the reason for that is because of the fact that they are price takers, and we can see that here, but also if the firm actually increases production, it has no real impact on the actual level of supply. Only a tiny fraction, only a tiny fraction in fact, would actually cause an increase. So there would only be a very small increase in the overall industry supply curve as a result of one given firm producing more goods, and therefore the price level remains constant for that firm in a perfectly competitive market. To take an example of this, if you just consider a given dairy farmer who decides to actually produce let's say 500 extra units of milk over a given period, what impact does that have on the overall market price? Well, it doesn't, of course. The price is taken by the industry level. We can see that. Okay, so we've got demand equals average revenue equals marginal revenue. Now what we can then do is we can also work out a total revenue schedule, which would look something like this. A bit like a 45-degree line that we've got reflected here, and we can see that at a level of 9 products sold, there is total revenue of £225. Okay, so this would be the firm's total revenue earned. Now, as they sell another unit, of course, they increase that total revenue, and so that is reflected by this upward sloping nature of this line here. Okay, great stuff, guys. I hope that's been all right. Look forward to seeing you next time.